Welcome to G-Man Gaming and Reviews. Today we're going to be reacting to the terrible news that Legend of Total War has decided to quit, to end his channel by the sounds of it. I found out about this when I was looking on the Steam page for Total War Warhammer 3 to see if they had dropped the new DLC, and I noticed that there were a lot of negative recent reviews. They were showing us overwhelmingly negative, and one of them actually said that you made Legend of Total War Warhammer quit. Legend of Total War quit. Now, I have to say, before I watch the video, I'm in a little bit of I think this is really bad for the Total War community. I mean, it's very bad. Legend of Total War is one of my favorite YouTubers. I just like his tactical mind and how, not just for Total War Warhammer 3, but just like for the other games, like showing his tactical understanding of the game has always created like these really cool videos where he does these unwinnable concepts. Like, if I could be like just half, like even a quarter of the player that Legend of Total War is, that would be awesome, right? His tactical acumen is just, every time that I watch his videos, I always learn something new. So to be honest, I'm actually just finding this out today. Now, as somebody who works full time and is now studying, I don't really get a lot of free time. So I'm not really abreast of a lot of the flack that seems to be coming, the I don't know what you would call the drama that seems to be coming with Creative Assembly. Like, I'm just hanging out for the newer DLC. But like I said, yeah, this was just really surprising to me. He said something about the community. I only watched 6 minutes into the video, but I thought I might react to this because this is really big news. So let's watch and find out why Legend of Total War decided to end his channel.
Legend of Total War here, and today I've got a fair few things to share with you guys. Before I start, I just want you to know everything is good, right? Everything is great. So, let's firstly talk about Total War Warhammer 3 and what's been happening with the pressure that you guys have put on Creative Assembly. We've got mixed reviews here on Steam, so it went from like very positive down to mixed.
Actually, now it's at overwhelmingly negative for the recent reviews, so whatever his followers needed to do, they achieved it.
We have a look down here at the graph. You guys have put in quite a lot of pressure. And when I say you guys, I mean the community as a whole. A lot of negative reviews. Now, apparently that's what Creative Assembly really cares about, especially when they're doing a lot of marketing. And so, from what I've heard, you guys have put an adequate amount of pressure on Creative Assembly that they're actually going to prioritize the patch for the Lizardmen for the AI, and maybe the Tim Kings as well, I will say. And get that hotfix out before 7.0, maybe even before they even start marketing 7.0, but I wouldn't make any promises on that one. But that's a good thing, because yeah, I really don't think it's a good idea for them to start marketing their next DLC when their base game is kind of broken for several races. So the fact that they wasn't an all hands on deck moment the moment they learned about this was kind of disappointing. And kind of indicative that they haven't really learnt their lesson, and it's still just the same old Creative Assembly as always. And that whole like, we're so sorry, that's kind of meaningless. I feel like this is just that mask off moment where, yeah, they're just the same old Creative Assembly. And no, I think most of you guys have realized that they haven't learnt their lesson. And so community pressure is needed whenever they step out of line like this. And you guys have put firm but polite pressure. This is probably one of the most polite degrees of pressure I've ever seen. Like, if you look at their social medias, it's all just like, please fix the AI. You guys put so much pressure on them. It's great to see, and it was polite. Good job. Well done to the entirety of the community. And I think you've shown an example, a positive example for other communities to how to get what you want, rather than the typical what you would normally see, like, yeah, people flipping off the handle. I don't need to give an example. You guys know what it's like. So really well done. Now, the next thing is the second-hand effect of having made that video, which I always knew was going to be the case. I mentioned it in the video. It's why I don't like making the videos and why those videos are a burden, which is the amount of discussion that happens around me personally. There's the message, and then there's the messenger. And the message has been discussed a fair bit over the past couple of days. And, well, you know, it varies wildly, as it usually does, from from very positive comments, and I appreciate those, to very negative stuff, which I also appreciate those. I don't have a problem with people disliking me. I would just think that you shouldn't make stuff up. You know, a minimal amount of stuff, I suppose, was made up, and there's nuggets of truth in all of it, so it's fair enough. But funnily enough, as I was reading the Reddit stuff, there was actually some comments from people that were critical of me that actually made a lot of sense, and I discussed some of that stuff with my wife, and
I have heard from his other videos before that it's generally not a good idea to mention his name on Reddit. I have to be honest, I don't really tend to go on Reddit to discuss video games. But my experiences as a much smaller YouTuber, I noticed this especially when I was doing my Helldiver videos. There tends to be some sort of attitude towards some gamers that like regard themselves as the expert on a game or something, and they tend to have really hostile opinions towards certain content creators. It's kind of interesting because at the end of the day, we're talking about a game, but some people really take these games very seriously. Now, yes, I do make content myself, but the difference is I don't feel the need to die on a hill to disagree with someone when it comes to content. I think that like, you know what I mean? It's like, especially when it comes to like things that are just about video game opinions. Like, from what I've seen of Legend of Total War's content, he seems to do mostly gameplay videos. He does, from what I've seen of his content criticizing Creative Assembly, he seems warranted in what he says. I get there are people who dislike him because there are some people who, from my understanding, there's quite a few Creative Assembly fanboys who seem to think that everything that Creative Assembly does is like good, and they don't like any criticism. I would say I noticed the same thing with Fallout, with the Fallout series. You just have these Bethesda fanboys who just really, they can't handle any criticism of Bethesda at all. They think that everything they do is like holy or something. So it's kind of interesting that a guy who just makes YouTube videos about a video game seems to be considered a divisive person on Reddit. I really just find that incredibly strange.
Discussing what to do about it, and we came to I think a very important decision that was extremely liberating for me. It was like, I mean, you guys will know that I've been crashing out basically for years now. Some days I'm fine, other days I'm just like in the worst mood ever, and I just couldn't really figure out what was causing it and how to fix it and all that kind of stuff. I've been looking into philosophy about how to fix my brain, but when we came to this decision, it was like instantly that's it. It was gone. It was like the burden, that brain brokenness, just instantly fixed itself. It was weird how liberating it was. Because I've been like crashing out beforehand and going from static to crashing. It's just been crazy. It's honestly been embarrassing to a degree. But the comments in general were saying, just in summary, he's clearly miserable. He's clearly got mental problems. Why does he keep doing this to himself? And that's a good point. And so we made the decision that on the 1st of January, 2026, that Legend of Total War is going to come to an end. And this is a good thing. It's a very good thing. And I'm going to spend the next part of the video explaining why this is happening, what's the main catalyst for this, and why it's actually a good thing for everyone that I'm doing this. It's not just like I'm doing this because I'm angry, fuck you guys, I'm out of here. No, this is a positive reason for moving on, and it'll benefit everyone. And that's what we should be having, like things that benefit everyone. We don't want anything to be bad for the community. So just bear with me with this. So first thing is I want to explain what is the main catalyst driving my decision to leave the Total War community. And it really came down to this. So I have a community post I posted a couple of days ago. Many of you guys will have seen it. It's quite long, so I don't expect those of you who haven't to go over it. But there's one bit in particular that stands out as kind of the main thing that has caused me mental problems over the past couple of years. And it really comes down to, like, just to summarize as quickly as possible, if asked why did Legend of Total War leave the Total War community, the answer is, like, short answer, TLDR, Creative Assembly and Influencer Manager. That's the short answer. Now, how did they manage to cause me to leave? So, in my time on being on YouTube, doing Total War, I have made many mistakes, and you guys have, the community as a whole, has held me accountable for those. Anytime I've said something stupid or worse than that, even, don't want to give specific examples because it's a long time ago, but I still don't want to. But you guys know what I mean. You've held me accountable, and I greatly appreciate that, because anytime that I've made a mistake and you forced me to reflect on it and do better, it's made me a better person, and it's made me a better husband, it's made me a better father, just a better person in general. And I've taken a lot of that accountability that you've put on me, and I've sort of tried to enforce that around others as well. Tried to be like a force for good. Try to stand up for people who can't stand up for themselves, stand up against bullying, all this kind of stuff. I've tried as much as I can to do that. I have succeeded in some areas, I failed in others. That's why it's important to be accountable and be called out when I've made a mistake. But we don't live in an ecosystem where we have the rule of law, where accountability is applied across the board, where the positions in power are basically free to just do whatever they want because they have power, basically. The rules don't apply to them. And I strongly believe, like as a personal philosophy, and I think that most of you guys do as well, that the rule of law should be supreme. And that is that the rules should apply to everyone equally and fairly, regardless of whether we like them or dislike them.
I see where this is going. Unfortunately, when it comes to, I don't know, I think he's going to talk about, unfortunately, when it comes to money, corporations, unfortunately, will take what it is that will help their bottom dollar rather than what is right. But we'll see what he says.
Rather they're weak or strong in the positions of power or a subordinate, that the rule of law, the rules-based order must reign supreme, because that prevents abuses of power as much as possibly can be done, or at least punishes abuses of power, so that, I can't abuse other YouTubers, I'll get called out for it, or anything like that. You can't punch down, basically, with the rule of law. And unfortunately, and this isn't unique to Total War, and that doesn't make any excuse, but Total War ecosystem, as in the developers, the social media and with the games itself, does not exist under that system. We have a rules for thee but not for me system, and many people will brush this off as, well, every other game community is like that. And that may be the case. And if that is what you are okay with, I have now come to accept it. But this is what we have. We have a rules for thee but not for me system, and I came to the realization that I have been trying to fight this for a very long time, and I can't do it. As I mentioned earlier, the power dynamic in any gaming community is customers have all the power. Now, that power is difficult to harness because it's usually quite fragmented, because each individual contributor only has a tiny little piece. So you need to unite under a common cause, find common ground, that kind of stuff. And that's difficult to do. But when there's big ticket issues, it happens, as we have seen with like Shadows of Change and with this stupid bug with Elizabeth and Tomb Kings and stuff, that it can be harnessed in certain situations. And developers, they don't want you to know that, but you have all the power. Now, in any sort of, especially with corporate stuff, in a free market system, eventually becomes not free, and the rules no longer apply to people in positions of power because it can't be enforced. If the rules aren't enforced equally and fairly, the rules are no longer rules, they're actually weapons, and they can use it to destroy and isolate and damage people that they consider their enemies. And Creative Assembly has shown a willingness to utilize that power. And unfortunately, they haven't been held accountable for that. And I've been trying for a very long time to get them held accountable, but all efforts have unfortunately failed in this regard. So it primarily came down to them DMCA takedowning, or attempting to DMCA take down Voland. And if we have a look here, DMCA takedowns are kind of weird because there's various different ways that it can be classified. But if you have a look at what Voland provides, if you go and ask him, he's always very willing to show you the information about this. That video was clearly not Creative Assembly's or Sega's copyright property, and that's what Voland's video was about. Was clearly fair use, because like it's like an hour and a half of commentary on a 5-minute video. The amount that he dissected that video is kind of ridiculous. It's insane. It's clearly fair use. And most of the time, whenever a company like Creative Assembly does a DMCA takedown, even if it's like shonky, then usually the like YouTube or Google or whatever, they'll go, yeah, okay, we'll allow that because we don't want to argue with big developers. And in this case here, they even threw it out. But the documentation still went through. This is why how Voland knows about it, because it still went through. It's not the fact that they failed. It's the fact that they attempted it. They attempted to use this act of intimidation, fraudulent, perjury even, attempt to do it. And all I tried to do is get them to be accountable for it. They tried to sweep it under the rug, try to make sure that nobody knew about it, right? And so by me calling them out, they pushed me out of the way as well. Which is why they will refuse to give an example of a rule that I broke, because they just get me out of the way, stop him from, isolate him and make him into a pariah or whatever. And then we won't do that again anytime soon, but next time we do something, hopefully he's not in the way, sort of thing. So basically they exist in a rules for thee, not for me situation where people in positions of power do whatever they want as long as they feel they can get away with it. They got away with this stuff, and unfortunately, all efforts to hold them accountable have completely failed. I have put unfairly pressure on you guys to hold Creative Assembly accountable, but it is not your job. I shouldn't have done that. It's unfair on me to put my burdens onto you. It's just that I knew that I couldn't exist in this ecosystem until that had been resolved, because it just it shattered my brain with all this kind of stuff. And any kind of accountability that they would have seen from this would have fixed it. But unfortunately, it just never happened, which is why the live streams from like 2020, really 2022 onwards, have just been so bad. They, 5 minutes I'd be fine, then next 5 minutes I'd be crashing out. It all really stems from this. And because I don't have the power to do anything about enforcing a rule of law situation to be done equally, I only have the power to walk away, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think it's the most powerful thing I can do as an individual, is to exert my power to not participate in a system that is broken, because I can't fix it from within, I can't fix it from without. So let the system die. As far as I'm concerned, I refuse to play. It's ironic, I get it. The irony is not lost on me. I've spent my entire career on YouTube.
Well, actually, I mean, if he can't change the system, I think that is the best way that he can deal a blow to Creative Assembly. By walking away, they're going to lose a lot of traffic related to Total War. I think they're going to regret this. I think they're going to regret this a lot. Already from what I saw of the recent reviews, like, they've been review bombed. Like, it's just like, oh, you don't want to have a game with DLC coming out and the recent reviews say overwhelmingly negative. He's already done the damage. So
breaking Total War games. I get the irony of it. And then I have bthis destroyed due to a company using exploits, essentially, in real life. I get it. The irony's not lost on me. But at the same time, I can't function in this scenario. So I have to walk away. I'm not blaming you guys. I'm not asking you to go get this fixed. It's not a threat or anything like that, or a plead or a whine or anything like that. This is just me explaining why. There's nothing you can do to change this now. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I've made my peace with it. I'm able to now let this go. and just move on. Because if you want to have this system of rules for thee but not for me, that's the power's in your hands. And I know that in most cases, as we've seen, you will hold Creative Assembly accountable. But there will be cases where, you know, maybe somebody doesn't care about it so much, like in the case of Fallen, they just didn't care that much. And, you know, the rules don't have to be applied in that case there. And, you know, that's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to be a part of it, basically. Has to be done fairly to the strong, the poor, the weak, the strong, the liked, the disliked. It has to be held, all have to be held accountable equally and fairly. Otherwise, I'm not interested. So that's the crux of why I'm doing it. Now, why is it a good thing that I'm leaving the Total War community? Because it seems like I'm having a bitch about something, and I'm like, well, I can't win with this, so I'm giving up. And there'll be a lot of people that'll say, but all of the gaming communities are like that. So when I look for whatever I'm going to be doing next, you can bet your ass that any place that I go to that is doing any of this kind of shit, you will not find me there. I'm not going to park my home there whatsoever. I'm going to try to find somewhere where this isn't happening, where the rules-based order is still functional. That's what I'm going to look for. It might take me a while, but I've got time. So, again, why is it good that I'm leaving? And why is it good for you guys? Why should you be happy that I am going to leave?
Well, Legend of Total War, if leaving makes you happy, then I think that you should do what you need to do. I mean, at the end of the day, life's too short to spend it doing something that you don't want to do. So, best of luck to you, my friend.
Total War community. And it's largely because I don't have anything more to do. I don't have anything more to teach you. I don't have anything more to learn from you. I've covered pretty much every single Total War game. I've shown you all my techniques. I've shown you all of my thought processes. Like if I make another disaster battle, it's almost identical to one that I've already done before. It's just rehashing the same thing. All I can do now is recycle the same shit, which means I'm just like Creative Assembly. All I'm doing is recycling the same shit over and over and over again, and the main reason I'm doing it is just money. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't really find it fun. I'm just doing it for money. And that's fine for a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with making money. But it's not very fulfilling. And I think that's the big problem that I'm having, is that it's...
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about being like a legend at a particular game or a particular game series. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, this is the reason why, I got to be honest, like, there are some content creators who just talk about one game, like Fortnite or Marvel Rivals. I got to be honest, I just couldn't do that. I couldn't focus on one game alone, even when I want to play, because it just gets boring. I mean, at this point, like, here's the thing, right? The Total War Warhammer 3 series, I've probably played about, I checked 826 hours, right? And I've played a lot of hours on that, and the original Total War Warhammer 1 game, I put quite a few hours into that as well, right? But I've never actually finished a campaign. But the thing is, the way that I play the Total War Warhammer game, I play it like I'm having what's the term? Like I'm having a buffet, or like it's an hors d'oeuvre, or it's something fancy, right? It's not a game that I play every single day, to be honest. There are so many factions. I haven't played all the factions, and I've put 826 hours into the game, right? And when I say all the factions, I mean I haven't played all the legendary lords, right? Still, right? One of the factions that I tend to play the most is Bretonia, because I love their lore, and because they're the faction that I've come the closest to actually finishing, right? I've gotten short victory conditions before, I think, but I've never actually done a long victory condition, like actually just finished it, right? But the thing is that I it's a game that I don't play every single day, and it's one of those games that I always come back to. I just couldn't, like, that's the thing about, like, I think Legend of Total War is right about it. He's pretty much done, like, you know what I mean? It's like, he's just done the same, he's done it for the same game. And and Creative Assembly, they haven't really released any really good Total War games since Total War Warhammer was released. The rest of them are just bad. So it's not like videos about Total War Rome, or Total War Medieval, or Medieval Total War, whatever you want to call it, where there just hasn't been, in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, maybe last 10 years, there just, apart from the Total War Warhammer series, there just really hasn't been very good Total War Warhammer games released. I don't think Pharaoh did well. Three Kingdoms was alright. I didn't really get into it. I have it. I still have to play it, but I don't know. It's just for me, I sort of feel that. See, the thing is that the reason why I love the Total War Warhammer game is really because of the setting itself, right? The reason why I haven't really gotten into other Total War Warhammer games, Total War games, is that they're not really very interesting for me because it's mostly the same units. It's mostly it's all human armies, right? Because it's historical, right? And for me, there's a game called the King Arthur role-playing game series that I think is really the first sort of Total War style game that actually had fantasy units and magic. I think Total War Warhammer works because the setting is actually really interesting and the factions are really diverse from each other. And it's that diversity that makes them incredibly interesting. I found with other games, with the other Total War games, there just wasn't enough diversity for me to feel. Because I understand they're historical, so you're not going to have a lot of diversity. But for me, one of the things that makes the Total War Warhammer series so good is just the amount of factions that you have, right? They're all very... So basically, the setting just provides something really good to work with. So the Total War Warhammer games are actually the best in the last 10 years, right? The setting has just done so much for them. But the other historical ones, I just don't feel that... especially, Medieval's actually interesting. I haven't played too much of it, but it does seem interesting. But it just doesn't feel like it doesn't rank up to Total War Warhammer, right? So I feel that there really isn't, apart from Total War Warhammer, there just really aren't any other good Total War games to make content about. Any new ones? So I feel that I get what he means by, he's just doing it for views, because I get that. I mean, the thing about being a content creator is I think what makes it fun is when you're able to just work on something that you enjoy. I think that's what happens with the bigger ones, is that once they become full-time, they sort of get stuck into doing videos about a particular title, about a particular game, because that's the game that's popular, right? And the thing is, in my opinion, you just can't keep doing... The channel's called Legend of Total War, and so people are coming to it to watch Total War videos. But, I mean, there's nothing really new to do in the game. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no... I mean, Total War Warhammer is great, is a great series. I absolutely love it because I love the Warhammer Fantasy series. But to be honest, I don't really feel that I would be playing any other Total War game. The settings, the historical ones, they're just not interesting for me. And right now, there just doesn't seem to be enough good ones for Legend of Total War to move on to doing other videos about new Total War games. The new one, the ones released in the last 5 years, they all suck. So, it's really hard to have a channel called Legend of Total War when there's no actual good games that were released in the last 7 years that you would call good Total War games for him to move on from. So I sort of get why he's doing this.
I've got that issue with the system being not a rules-based order, and that also I'm not being creative. And I think the best, I look towards why was the best time in the channel, 2018 for all of that year's flaws, 2018, 2019, and 2020. And some people, because of COVID. No, it wasn't because of COVID. What was it that made it the best for me? That was the period of time where I learnt the most from you guys. I grew the most, and where I was the most ambitious. That's where I was doing the most work. I was excited about work each day. The channel was growing so much. It was thrilling. It is not being number one that is fulfilling. It is the journey to being number one that was fulfilling. And once I had arrived at the destination, it became extremely boring. And more boring the longer I stayed there. Think about it. Whenever you're in a Total War campaign, at what point do you find the campaign boring? When you're strength ranking number one, right? Now, some people will continue to conquer the entire map. That's basically what you've seen me do attempt to do for the past few years. And it's been boring. So basically what I want to do...
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I haven't actually finished a Total War Warhammer game ever. It just gets to a point where it stops being interesting. I think the big fun of the Total War Warhammer series is... This is one of the reasons why when I did my previous video on the Lizardmen, why I just found them so boring, because they don't have the turn 0 to 3 sort of bump. Sorry, the turn 0 to 30 bump where you have to really figure out how to play the faction, right? A lot of the times that's the big hurdle, and they're just so powerful that I found them to be very, very boring. But I understand why Legend of Total War finds the game boring, because he's obviously not experiencing it. I mean, he's playing it on the hardest difficulty that you can. If that's too easy for him, there's no fun in it.
Is I just want to start a new campaign of life, basically. I want to see what other campaigns I can go play and start from a position of weakness. I want to learn, I want to grow and learn new skills, and I want to have that desire to be the best at something else, because I'm bored doing this. It's not that these games are bad. I mean, some of them are, and there's certainly bad aspects even in the ones I like, but it's not thrilling for me to learn anything. I'm not learning anything more from this. All I'm doing is basically keeping up with the updates, with just number changes and updates, and it just doesn't thrill me anymore. And I don't have anything to offer you anymore. And the thing is, by me leaving, this is where it's going to be a good thing, me leaving allows for other people to get more spotlight. Other people that may have something to offer you that I cannot offer you, because I don't cover mods, because it's not my thing. There's certain things that other people can offer you that I have no interest in it, because it's not my speciality. And this, like various mods or how to play not cheesy or playing multiplayer, things that I have just no interest in, right? This will give other people with different skills the opportunity to shine a light on them, so that they can have a chance at this as a career, rather than me gobble up all the views for the next 20 years. Nah, it's not worth it. Like I said, I don't need the money. It's just not worth it. I'm a big fish in a small pond, and I just want to check out other ponds now. That's basically it. And it's time for the other little fish to have a bit of the food. You know, this is good for everyone if I've done everything that I need to do. It's like Total War YouTuber completed. That's what it is. It's not like I'm leaving because...
Yeah, he's completed it all right. 100% completion. He's done... I think he's pretty much done every single type of difficult battle that you could think of. It's like, pick any faction, he can beat it. It's just insane, his level of knowledge of the game, of just the Total War series in general, like even with Shogun, but like even with factions, like the things that I've learnt about how to play the game, like the way to cheese the game at higher difficulties is just absolutely incredible. It was an absolute pleasure watching him play games. Just the way that he plays is so unorthodox sometimes, and the way that he uses things is so unorthodox. Like, I've seen battles of him where he's playing with the Empire and he uses like flying heroes to basically bait the enemy so that his artillery can shoot at them some more, right? Just the level of tactical acumen that he has in his games is just like, I don't like you know, I love reading books about strategy and stuff like that, but he really knows how to milk every unit for what it's worth, right? To the point that he can turn the tide of battle because he sees ways of using things, especially when it comes to heroes and lords and stuff like that, that other people might not have seen. And just that one thing that he sees that other people don't see makes all the difference.
Because I got pushed out. I'm leaving because I I need to go get a real job or anything like that. No, it's just Total War YouTuber. The game of Total War YouTuber has been completed. That's all. And, you know, sometimes you just got to uninstall the game, move on to the next game. And who knows? A couple of years later, might want to reinstall that first game. You might not start from a position of power next time. Who knows? But yeah, being in a stagnant position of power has not made me happy. I want to do something else. I don't want to have power. I want to like find somewhere else to grow, basically. So what are we going to be doing over the next 3 months? How are we going to end this? I want it to be as positive as possible. So I'm just going to bring up my channel here. So channel stuff here. So this is being more transparent than I would normally do, so you guys can see my income. Oh my god, Legend makes lots of money, or doesn't make enough money, whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, I have now freed myself from the burden of giving a shit about people's opinions. So you can just say whatever you want, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, 3 months I'll be gone. And by gone, like, it's not like I'll still be around but not making videos. Like, I'm going to get rid of my Twitter, the Discord's going. Basically, Legend of Total War as a character is gonna die on that date. I'm not going to be involved in the Total War community at all. I'm fully moving on. I can't be leaving any like keepsakes or anything like that. I'll leave the channel here, and I still might want to do YouTube. Like, as of the 1st of January, I'm going to take an extended break from this and just see what else is out there. What are my options? See what jobs I could potentially apply for. Just want to see what's available, see what could interest me. And I could end up just being a freaking Stellaris YouTuber. Who knows? I might just go do Paradox stuff. I just don't know. Because I haven't made that decision yet. But it just will not be Total War. So, just looking at the stuff here, obviously you can see my income, but anyway, one of the things with the channel over the past couple of years has been an ongoing goal to surpass the Total War official channel in subscribers. We're actually really close to doing so. And one of the main things that I think that kept me here was trying to achieve that goal. But also, that goal is petty and pointless. Like, what does it achieve? It's just a fucking number. It doesn't matter. It's just more accumulating more shit, basically. So I don't care about that goal anymore. This video here, I might gain subscribers, I might lose subscribers. It doesn't matter anymore. If it goes down to 100,000, doesn't matter. It's done. It's fine. Whatever. Like I said, it may or may not be my end on YouTube, but it's definitely my end on Total War. But anyway, so we had that goal, and if we achieved that goal, I said I was going to do the biggest charity live stream that I was ever going to do. I can't do another 24-hour live stream now that I got a kid. It's just, I'm too old for this shit, man. No, what I'm going to do instead is over 7 days, I'm going to do 7 8-hour-long live streams. So what's that, 56 hours? So I'll be playing a different Total War game each day, culminating on the 1st of January. And that'll be the final content for this channel. On the 1st of January 2026, which is the 13th year anniversary of Legend of Total War as a channel. It's the day that I published the squeaky voice first episode of the Blitz campaign. So go full circle to that. And with that charity live stream, I'm going to try to work towards doing it with Extra Life again. So that's what we did in, I think, 2020. That worked out really well. They were very good to work with. So we'll set that up. I don't want to handle any of the money myself, but I think it's important that if I'm going to wrap this up, I want to give back as much as I can, and then move on to the next thing. And it'll be really interesting to come back just to observe like a year afterwards and just see how things are going. You know, see what Total War Warhammer 40k is like. See, see who took over the power vacuum and who became number one after me. It'd be really interesting to see what ends up happening. Also, another thing to note, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. In terms of like the DLC, right, that's coming. Look, if I'm moving away from Total War, I really don't see any point in me buying this next DLC, like Tides of Torment. So I've decided not to purchase it. This isn't a boycott or me saying I think it's going to be crap. It's a case of
Well, it makes sense that he's not purchasing it. I mean, if you're moving on from Total War Warhammer, there's no point in purchasing it. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Don't want to be holding on to something that's keeping me here when I've already made the decision, which has been very liberating, to leave. So again, don't use what my decision is to justify your purchasing decision. But I just want to let you know that I will not be doing any Tides of Torment content. And it's simply because I just don't care anymore. Like, Total War Warhammer has just run its course with me. It's a shame because I kind of wanted to see things.
Well, it kind of does make sense. I'm looking forward to Tides of Torment, but to be honest, the game has been running since 2016. That's 9 years at this point. That's a long time for a game series to be running. Like, it's a very long time. You know what I mean? And I got to be honest, I played Total War Warhammer 1, and then I didn't really play much of Total War Warhammer 2, to be honest. Like, the whole campaign with the High Elves that people say was really good, I haven't really played very much of it. Right? So I went from Total War Warhammer 1 back in the day when assassins could literally kill lords. That was an interesting time. Because you used to have heroes of your own to stop your own lords from being assassinated. That was actually really nasty back then. So I played it back then for quite hours, and then when Total War Warhammer 2 came out, I don't think I was playing it, I don't know what I was doing, and then I started playing back again in Total War Warhammer 3. So, if he's been playing it consistently, he's been playing it for like 11 years at this point. That's a long time to be playing. It's a long time, it's an incredibly long time to be doing content on the same game. I literally couldn't do that. I don't think, it doesn't matter what game it is. I recently uninstalled Marvel Rivals because I just got bored of it. Games are fun and whatnot, but to be honest, at the end of the day, for me, they're secondary. Like, I love doing reviews and I love doing guides because I love to, like, analyze a game. But the thing is that, like, you can only take a game so far before you have to move on to the next one. There are plenty of games that I come back and play, after a while. But to be honest, it's just normal for, you know, I just couldn't imagine doing the same, like the same game for over 11 years. That's just insane to me. Like, that's just, I would get bored. But I think that's one of the things that you sort of got to do with YouTube, is that you sort of got to find your niche and stick to it, which is one of the things that I sort of tend to struggle with, because I just don't, I play a game like the Total War series is one of the games that I've come back to. But to be honest, I like being able to play it and just pick it up and play. I don't really like doing challenges and stuff. I love doing guides, but realistically, I don't really have it in me to and then go back and then try it with this. That's just not me. But I get, like, 11 years is a long time to be, like, I think he was doing it consistently from the very beginning. I mean, anybody would get tired of doing it at that point. I totally get why he's going to be waiting for Total War Warhammer 40K to come out. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. What's really interesting is that I hope Creative Assembly gets the message at this point, because I really want them to. It's kind of weird because there was the big debacle with the Shadows of Change DLC. I think they're trying to get to a point. I don't know what's going on internally, but I think that, so when they started, right, you could tell that there was a love of the game there, right? But as time's gone on, especially when you got to Total War Warhammer 3, right, especially when they wanted to force people to buy Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 in order to play Immortal Empires, which was just do what Stellaris did, and I think it was Stellaris, and just let people, like, at this point, expecting someone to pay $500 to buy all the DLC is ridiculous. Just let them pay $20 a week, a month, or whatever it is, $20 a month to get access to all the DLC. That's reasonable at this point. And if people want to buy the individual DLC, they're welcome to do that. But that's what Stellaris does. So, I mean, it's unreasonable to, especially like to have forced people to buy the Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 to play the Immortal Empires. That was real bullcrap. So, I'm starting to understand why he's moved on. It seems to me that, I don't know if they're doing something similar to Nintendo, where trying to make it so that people who are influencers don't say bad things about them. But at the end of the day, that was a pretty. I feel really bad about that. for Legend of Total War and those people who, yeah.
Things get to the end times, but I just don't have the energy to wait that long. It's just been such a rocky ride with it, and I just don't care anymore. It's like with Tides of Torment stuff, I just did not care. And so I'm not purchasing it out of any protest. Like I purchased Omens of Destruction. I purchased what I want to purchase. And I just don't want to purchase any more Total War products. Again, not out of protest, just out of it's run its course with me. That's all. I'm going to do other things. And so yeah, I just don't want to have anything keeping me here playing Total War, because I do intend as of the 1st of January to actually uninstall all my Total War games for the first time ever. Have no Total War games installed on my computer, and just sort of put them in a folder and go see you in a few years, sort of thing. Maybe. I just don't think I'm going to have any real desire to play a Total War game for a long time, except for Medieval 2. That's a weird one. I come back to that all the time. But I think Warhammer has run its course with me. And so hanging around just for money, well, it is good money. Money is just not that important. You just shouldn't take some advice from me on this. If you've got enough money to be happy, you don't need to get more. And I've got enough money to be happy. And now I find that making money is making me unhappy. So it's like, I've got to move on. And this gives me an opportunity to spend more time with my daughter and more time with family. And that's what my wife wants. She doesn't care about money. Most women don't care about being, go out there and get more millions. She just wants us to be a family. And I get to do more of that. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do that. And I know that I'm in a very privileged position, which is why this is good for me. And it's also a very selfish decision. I understand that. I am doing this for me because I want to do it. And if
he has every right to do it for himself. I mean, he's been carrying the flag for like 11 years at this point. Right? I don't know if Total War Warhammer series would have been as prolific as it was if it wasn't for Legend of Total War. Like, he's just the amount of interesting content that he came up. The challenges as well were really unique. There have been some other YouTubers that I've seen that are sort of doing something similar, which is interesting. But just I think the unwinnable battles was a highlight. I always enjoyed watching the difficult circumstances that players would get themselves into and his ability to just get them out of it. Classic content. For me, it never got old, but I haven't played the game as much as he has, so I don't really, I wouldn't say I can cheese with all the factions. So yeah, but it was always an absolute pleasure to watch his content, especially the unwinnable battles, of all the games. It was just like like I said before, his understanding of the game mechanics is at a level that I don't think any other YouTuber can match.
You're upset with this decision, which you shouldn't be, but if you are upset with it, you have absolutely no power to change any of this. Everyone has lost their power over me completely. That's what makes this so liberating, because for the past few years, maybe longer than that, I have been living in a cage of my own making. And I have the key. All I have to do is walk out of the cage. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I've decided to do. And the funniest thing is all my fighting with Reddit over the years, that one of the most liberating pieces of advice came from someone who's criticizing me. But they were right. This is why taking accountability and being criticized is so important, because sometimes you'll find nuggets of wisdom among your enemies. I mean, just again, looking at this, back here with Voland, this is a perfect example. Voland and I were not on good terms prior to this happening. And we got in touch over this, and because of this, we found common ground. And you can go back to 2020 and actually see us feuding in live streams. He's got videos on his channel where we're feuding pretty badly, right? And the funny thing is now, after all of this, we found enough common ground that, we're kind of friends now. It's not. I know that many of you guys don't like him. I don't care. It doesn't matter. We get along. We focus on our common ground, and it works. And this is why I've been trying to push you guys. Find common ground with the people that you don't like to get the goals done that you both want. Find your common ground. Don't use the things that are different to divide you. Use the things that you find interesting together, and find common ground that way. That's how you build a community, and I hope that I've been a positive force towards that, and I'll continue to be that for the duration that I'm still here. But like I said, 1st of January 2026, that is the end of the Legend of Total War experience. And I greatly appreciate every single one of you over the years for your support, your criticisms, and all the schizo stuff that you caused me to do, all the brain broken stuff. I even appreciate Creative Assembly, because I would not have been able to have had this career if it wasn't for Creative Assembly. If it wasn't for them making such breakable games, for being so silly and so many times, I would not have had this career. It's definitely been a very turbulent relationship, and it's very unfortunate that we're walking away from this not on good terms, but that's just the way it is. I've got to walk away anyway. But I do wish them the best, and I hope that Total War Warhammer ends with a bang. End times whatever, I hope it's good. And I hope that their next launch of Warhammer 40k or Medieval 3 or whatever it is that they've got, I wish it the best. I have never wanted harm on Total War. I've only criticized it because I've loved it. And now it's time for me to move on and find other things that I love. Appreciate you guys. I hope you will stick around for the journey if I decide to do anything else on this channel post January 1st. And I hope you stick around until we leave. But it's entirely up to you. No longer am I shackled basically to your opinions.
Okay, well, I am going to say to Legend of Total War, bon voyage, all the best. I loved watching your videos. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I hope to get as tactically good as you are to be able to do like the section that you used to do with the unwinnable battles. I don't think I'm ever going to be close to that. I'm just at the point where I can play certain campaigns on hard difficulty. I don't think I'm ever going to get and that is, depending on the faction, quite a struggle, but I'm working at it. I would love to get to the point where I could do the same videos that Legend of Total War did, where he would just fight unwinnable battles. I love the idea of being a strategist, but I just don't think I have done that good. But Legend of Total War, no matter what you do, all the best. Thank you for everyone who watched this video. This was G-Man Gaming in Reviews, wishing Legend of Total War all the best. See you later.